So one clarification I see here is that the rule change does state that someone can participate both in a tailored day services and also receive, for example, day service or others on different days, correct?
That is correct, but there is an exception that folks can receive both services on the same day if they're currently in a work activity program and are within 6 months of kind of transitioning out of that into another service. Yeah.
Right. So, but they can at least opt into different types of services as long as in most cases they're not taking place on the same day with the tailored day. So
correct.
So hopefully that clarifies that. Can we receive a little bit of clarification with ratios for tailored day service?
Yeah, it is a one-to-one service. I know that there are some questions that have come up about, hey, could this be expanded to provide to more than one individual if their desires and the like are aligned. Right now, the law is set that it is an individual service. It's developed with an individualized service design. That's in the law.
If people miss their scheduled days, are they still able to make up those hours during that month?
For us currently, I would say with the allotted amount of hours, people are able to utilize them anytime during the month. So, you know, if they have a lot of flexibility with their coach or DSP that they're working with. And so if they always meet on Mondays and that person is sick on Monday and they miss that appointment, they typically are able to reschedule with their coach or their person, so that way that they can still get those hours. I mean, that's the ideal situation.
Virtual or remote services, are those able to fall under this tailored day service design, or could it be a hybrid if they're using some of their tailored day hours for some remote and maybe some for in-person tailored day services?
Right now, what we know for sure is that with tailored day, that remote option will continue to be available.
Will DDS be engaging with providers related to the rates moving forward? How will the department be reviewing with stakeholders how things are going for the next report back in June 2024?
So the first part is, will we be engaging? Yes, and we've continued to engage on the rates. We know that the rate study did a lot of work, and there's still some more work to be done. So just broader than tailored day, still a lot of work that needs to be done to implement the rate study and review some of the assumptions that went into it. As far as kind of doing a review of tailored day, we do want to work with you all to determine what that review really looks like. How should we go about it? How do we get information from people who receive services? What's working for them? What may not be working for them, as well as from providers and family members and others. So the exactly how that's going to work, don't know yet, but we'll be working on that here very soon, because we've got to start to do some upfront work to gather what information we think will be helpful, as opposed to waiting towards near the end to then go back and get that. So still more to come on kind of what that process is going to look like.
Or when taking into account people's specific needs and making sure tailored day meets those, what have you seen, or what is your impression of, you know, the various numerous needs, whether personal or medical or whatever it may be? I see Jamie, you're off mute. Go ahead and jump in.
Okay. You know, in the last couple of years, just as long as, you know, their goals fall under those 3 areas of tailored day, you know, whether they need, you know, a moderate level of supports with that or a more level of supports with that, if they fall under those 3 areas, you know, that is definitely tailored day can be looked at as a service that they could use.
I live in a rural area where we have no providers for anything. And my question is the tailored day provided only by like an agency providing entity, or can this be done by individuals in an area like mine?
Yes, that's a good question. I know we've mostly been focused on kind of that service being provided through an agency or a vendor, but Also in the law, again, that I posted the link to, it does have reference to what's referred to under the same section. It's called vouchered community-based service, which really is essentially then that the individual receiving services, their family can directly hire an individual, not through a vendor, doesn't have to be through a vendor, to provide the service.
I would just need to talk to my service coordinator about if I had someone that could provide this service, getting them in place. They don't have to go through another agency or be vendored, go through all the paperwork to be vendored themselves.
Right. Yep. You need to work with the regional center on how to get that set up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what can providers anticipate in that simplified version of adding Taylor Day to their services? The sort of the established quality outcome measures that the department will be looking for.
Most of the guidance will be what the law says, right? So that everybody, is aware of what the law says about what can be provided, how the rate's done, and kind of the other rules about the usage, number of hours, days, and those kind of things. The two things that are really going to be different that aren't specific in the law are kind of that addendum to the current vendorization, as well as that individualized service design template. Because this isn't a service where, as a provider, that can set up, hey, this is the quote design that's going to work for everyone. Each individual who wants the service is going to design their own. That's what it was for, right? We want to get into, Carol mentioned, to try and get to those quality outcomes, is we want to have, and what Taylor Day allows is the individual to design how much service they want, what types of supports they want, how often, and those types of things. So we'll have a template for that as well. Again, looking at that to be mostly a one page, so that it's relatively simple to put that together, so that we don't want that to be a barrier or cause confusion to get folks what the services that they want.
There's questions about being able to staff this one-on-one Taylor Day service, and especially under their current staffing needs. So
there is certainly an understanding that the staffing issues, not only in our system, but all over, are real. So separately, I think we all collectively need to work on what are some options to address that.
thank you.
Well, just from the input that I've had from vendors that are currently offering Taylor Day services and having, a sort of customized schedule that, they may use it on a variable basis and for different needs, it is challenging. That is for sure, because it's sometimes hard to, bring staff aboard for those variable schedules. And so, even, as recent as this week, I got an email from a vendor who was really having a tough time with, being able to bring on staff with that variable schedule. So, I really do foresee that as a challenge going forward, that one-on-one staffing that has the variable schedule based on that, those customized needs of that person.
Kind of the education or communication that's going out to individuals who may be interested in this, families, care providers, especially if, there's a bit of a process here getting it set up and everything, right? And that there may be some delays in services as that happens, at least delays while the planning process is happening and the rest of it.
I think we're all just really kind of waiting for that in writing sort of directive to kind of be able to go out there and, answer a lot of those questions. I know this sort of forum is very, very helpful. And so, planning those staff trainings and, being part of our website and things like that, getting the information out in those areas, I think is going to be really important. And then just figuring out how to best basically market this service and the changes to the service, I think, are going to be really important.
Right.
Can you be vendored just for
Just
tailored
TDS.
day
Mhm.
as opposed to being vendored for, say, a day program and tailored day? And so right now it is that second part. So if you're already vendored to do a day service, work service, the like, then you can also provide tailored day. Again, the other option is the voucher community-based service, which does not require that the individual providing that service to be vendored. But they, that would be in that more, says vouchered, but is that participant directed form, right? Where the individual has the consumer has some employment relationship with the person who's providing the service.